Okay, hi. I'm Britt Reuter, and I'm a functional medicine nutritionist, and I serve women who have gut issues, hormone imbalances, and autoimmunity. I run an online virtual clinic from my home here in the Boston area. And if you want to learn more about me and what I do, you can visit my website, brittreuter.com, or find me on Facebook or Instagram at NutritionBrit. This is a new thing that I'm trying out. It's called Conversations with Women in Wellness. And one of the reasons I'm doing this is because I was already having these conversations with women in my network, and I felt that our audience would get as much out of it as I do having these conversations. So I really wanted to share that with all of you. So I'm so grateful to my friend and colleague, Maria, for being my first guest on this series. She and I really hit it off together when we had a conversation recently, and I really admire the work that she does. She's even written a guest post on my blog called The 4 Crucial Steps to Reducing Sugar Cravings, and I highly recommend you check out this blog post. Maria is the registered dietitian and owner behind Food Farmacist RD, an online health and wellness community aimed to inspire people to use food as their primary medicine. After a few years of working in the conventional hospital setting, Maria became frustrated from the lack of results she was seeing both in her health and the health of her patients. After diving into integrative and functional medicine, she now aims to share the message of holistic healing and break down complicated health topics into easy take-home messages. Her passion is helping others conquer sugar cravings using a realistic, whole-body lifestyle approach. So thank you. Welcome, Maria.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Great. It's great to have you. So let's help my audience get to know you a little bit better. We'll start out with, what does your daily health routine look like?
Yes. So my routine, I work from home. So I try to keep a regular routine. Otherwise, it's really easy for anyone who works from home. If you guys can understand this, it's really easy to just not do anything.
Yeah.
So I always schedule my alarm. I'm a early morning riser. So I wake up pretty early and have my coffee kind of first thing. And then actually one of the first things I've been doing lately is just kind of in the past 6 months, I've been practicing a meditation technique called Ziva meditation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so I'll come here in my office. I have my little makeshift meditation chair, nothing special back there. But, and so I do a 20-minute meditation, usually within the first 45 minutes of waking up. And Ziva is really cool, just kind of a background on that.
Yeah, I'm not familiar. I'd like to learn more.
Yeah, so Ziva it's run by Emily Fletcher, who is this famous meditation teacher, and she's taught all of these high performers, actors, business people how to meditate. But you don't have to be an actor to learn how to do it. She has an online program, and so I did her 14-day program, like I said, probably 6 months ago. And she uses 3 concepts of meditation. So she does meditation, mindfulness, and then manifesting.
Wow.
And so she kind of teaches you how to work through it. And honestly, it's just been so life-changing. It's always something so dramatic when you say that, but what I kind of realized was before I was just doing more of a mindfulness exercise. A lot of the apps out there, they're more so mindfulness, which is still good, but it doesn't get as deep into the meditation. So she teaches you how to do both of them.
That's awesome to have the guidance, because I know that having tried meditation before, it can be really intimidating, and you always have that kind of voice in the back of your head that's telling you, I don't think I'm doing this right. So it's so nice, I bet, to have the coach.
Yes. And she, what I love about her is she's you don't have to clear your mind. She has the thought of, trying to stop your thoughts is trying to stop your heart. You can't just okay, heart, stop beating,
Yeah.
So that just being able to be hey, thoughts are okay and it's normal, and that's just a part of meditating. I think it's helped me stick with it. So, so I do that for about 20 minutes in the morning. And then after that, I'm usually running late already because I've just been so done. And then I have breakfast, which is usually the same breakfast. I have 2 eggs with an avocado, chia seeds, and sauerkraut. It's like been my go-to breakfast for a couple of years. Yeah, and then I usually will work for a couple of hours. Like I said, I work from home, so I try and implement. I bought a standing desk from Amazon. It's just like a little makeshift thing that pops up. So I'll try to do that when my iPhone yells at me to stand up, or my Apple Watch.
Nice.
Yeah, and then around lunchtime, I'll usually get up and take, I have a 10-month-old German Shepherd puppy.
Oh, yeah.
And so
I love seeing pictures on Instagram.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, so like I have to take her for 2 walks a day, because if I don't, she will not leave me alone, and she'll get into trouble. So I usually take her for like a mile walk, have a little lunch, which is usually like leftovers, and then come back, maybe work for a couple more hours, and then usually in the afternoon, it's either like I'll take her for another longer walk, maybe like 2 miles, or if it's like icky outside, I'll do like an at-home yoga session. I use an app called Down Dog, and it's free. And what I like about it is they are really good yoga sessions. Like you can pick your level. I'm not an expert. Like I just like doing it as a form of exercise. And so I just do it on my iPad, like literally set up my yoga mat behind me, and you can do anywhere from like a 15 to a 20-minute or to like an hour session. So I might do that like a couple times a week too. And then that's pretty much it. Make dinner when my husband get home, and then go to bed at like 9:30 or 10. Nothing too crazy. I'm not that exciting.
Right. No, I think that it's funny because like crazy and exciting, like to me, used to be a priority, probably same for you, like when you're a little bit younger and you're just like, I just want to, be social. But now it's, always at an expense. So it's like you stay out late, like one night, and then, pretty soon your whole week just seems to get out of control. You're tired, you're drinking too much caffeine, you're dehydrated, you're maybe reaching for more sugary snacks. So, routine is where it's at. I'm convinced.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, it's so funny too, because I've started to realize that now I lean towards routines that, like, for example, with exercise, before I would make myself feel guilty if I didn't like go to the gym or do like a high intensity workout. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I still think that that's really good. Like I like lifting weights and stuff like that. But I just feel like I really leaned more towards like natural movement and things that make me feel kind of calm at the same point, because I'm just naturally like a really fast-paced person. So I need that to ground me.
100% agree. I can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
So I shared a little bit about this in the intro, but tell us a little bit more about how you discovered functional medicine.
Yeah. So let's see. So I'm a registered dietitian, and both my undergraduate and my graduate degree were in nutritional sciences. So heavy on like biochem and stuff like that, physiology. But I was trained in kind of the conventional medicine sphere. So when I got my first job as a dietitian, it was at a local hospital here in Denver. And I was working in more so like the acute care type of field. So that means I was covering like the ICU, which would be like intravenous nutrition or tube feeding for people who, are critically ill on life support. And then I kept kind of jumping around. I would go to like work in the dialysis unit, and then I would go to the surgery unit. And I think I was like trying to find something that I felt passionate about. And then I finally moved to the outpatient clinic, and I really liked the outpatient because I liked, seeing people's progress and kind of following them through like this journey. But I started to become like really frustrated with kind of the conventional medicine model. And I actually should say that I think conventional medicine, especially because I worked in like the acute care, I think conventional medicine is like, world class for acute care. And like if you break your arm, or you get into a car accident, God forbid, or you need to you're having a heart attack and you need to go to the emergency room. Like that's where conventional medicine like really thrives. But I saw it like in the outpatient setting, I kind of felt like they were trying to use the same model in treating chronic diseases, and it didn't work. And so I was growing frustrated, and at the same time, I was kind of going through some health issues of my own. I was having some like hormonal imbalance issues, acne, and I was just frustrated. Like I would go to doctor, and they would kind of not know. They would try and do prescriptions and stuff like that. And in kind of the back of my head, I'm thinking like, well, what is actually causing this though? Like,
right.
Not only in myself, but in my patients that I was seeing in the outpatient clinic as well. So to be honest, I was actually really close to changing careers because I was just so frustrated and defeated, and I didn't feel passionate. And then just as kind of fate would have it, I kind of fell into this group, and I got connected with a group of dietitians that were in a group called Dietitians in Integrative and Functional Medicine. And I had no idea what functional medicine was. Like, I didn't even, it just blows my mind that like, even with a master's degree in like nutrition, I had never even known what functional medicine was.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think it is starting to change in like the dietetics realm, but, and more dietitians are like starting to get, more involved in it.
Totally.
But yeah, it's definitely like lacking in that part of the education. So everything was just blowing my mind as I was like learning about functional medicine. And thankfully, the clinic I worked at, thankfully they have in their national program, they had some like up and coming functional nutrition training programs. So I was able to do some, further training in that. And I guess all that kind of led me to starting Food Farmacist RD. And I just wanted to like share all of this information like with everyone. So then I started like my blog, and I really wanted to like break down these kind of more complicated topics that I'm like, how can we get more people to like know about this, without having to have degrees and all this stuff. So that kind of evolved into me, moving more to being better and writing about functional medicine, and then, ultimately helping people heal from sugar cravings, looking at root causes and everything like that.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit partial here, but I think that the best functional medicine practitioners, or just maybe healthcare providers in general, are ones that have experienced their own health struggles, because I think it's really just like that burning passion to like help people and, to kind of help expedite their journey, because you've been through it, and you went, the long way, like having to discover this on your own and self-teach. And so if there's anything that you can do, I hear you say, to make someone else's journey through this a little bit more expeditious, a little bit faster, and more efficient, and help alleviate their suffering sooner, that's what you want to do.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it also just helps you be so much more like empathetic towards the frustrations. Because I think in functional medicine and with functional medicine practitioners, I'm sure you could agree with this as well, is like when people come to us, like they're just like so frustrated because they've tried other things when they've come to us, and they've had people like not listen to them, and they felt like, they were getting Band-Aids. And so, yeah, it's just like, I think having that empathy just can really help as any type of provider, but then especially with functional medicine.
Yeah, it's really powerful stuff. And I can just tell like the conviction in your voice, where you're just like, oh my gosh, like this is awesome, and I got to get out there and tell people about it.
Yeah.
So I know that you love like looking at sugar and helping people get it out of their diet. I mean, it is, just seemingly the source of so many, so much inflammation, so many chronic diseases. In your experience as a registered dietitian, what would you say is the most common misconception about health? Does it relate to sugar, or is it something different?
Well, I think there are a lot about sugar. I think like one of them around sugar is just that like there's one answer to like, all you have to do is eliminate sugar And once you cut it out of your diet, then you'll never want it again and you're done, you know? It's kind of like that same, like there's one answer when there's like, there never is. And so that's where I was kind of looking around, and I was noticing like this common trend in all my patients, and even like myself, that all of these people were like struggling from like these sugar cravings and not being able to like feel like they were in control of their food. And but so they would try and do things like, you know, sugar detoxes where they just go off of sugar right away. And, you know, that obviously does help, because there is a component of, the less you have it, like the less you're going to want it. But thinking about like the root cause type of thing, you know, you have to look at how are your stress levels, and what else are you eating? You know, if you're eating no added sugar, but your diet is really high in maybe like refined grains, or you're not having like enough healthy fats and protein, you know, your blood sugar is going to be an issue there. Mindfulness, like if you're not paying attention to what you're eating, a lot of people tend to eat sugar out of like boredom or habit in their car. And so I think the misconception is like, if you just take something out, it'll fix it right away. Whereas especially with sugar cravings, like you just have to get to the deep rooted issue there. And there's usually more than one.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like mirroring that functional medicine approach, like you're saying, like looking for the root causes versus just addressing the symptoms. You know, the symptom is eating the sugar, but its cause can be, you know, many different things. And so getting to the root of it, addressing the cause rather than just stop eating the sugar, suppress the symptoms. That's kind of more your approach.
Yeah. And I think that when you get to the root cause, like you get less of that like binge restrict cycle.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you understand that like it's really like more of a stress management issue, or more of like a macronutrient issue, rather than it doesn't come down to just your willpower. Because I feel like when you just focus on that, you tend to feel that restriction. And then whenever you get access to something, you tend to be more you know, binging towards that food product because it seems so taboo.
Right. And if you feel like personally deficient in some way, like you're lacking in willpower or resolve, I feel like me personally that would cause more stress and make me want sugar more, because now I feel less than or something.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I can totally see how it would be cyclical, and I've experienced that myself too. So yeah, I just so appreciate the insights that you have on that, because just like, you know, it's your mission. I mean, it's just like real world advice. And I think it helps just break it down for people and make it seem so much more approachable, because, you know, what could be scarier than eliminating, you know, something as big as sugar? And it's so ubiquitous. I'm sure you can agree, you know, like what would you say is like one of the most surprising things that you could find sugar in?
Ketchup is a common one. Like they put high fructose corn syrup in ketchup.
Yeah.
I think most most, you know, like nutritionists and dietitians, I feel like they would know that, but like the common person on the street, like usually doesn't know that like in these condiments and stuff like that, there's just, you know, that high fructose corn syrup is hidden everywhere. Even finding those hidden sources, and then but knowing too, I think part of what made me wanted to like approach it in this way was that I was looking out there and I was like, there's nothing really that's talking about this from a whole body perspective. And but then also being realistic in that, you know, people like, it's not that you're never going to eat sugar again. It's just a matter of like feeling like you can control when you want to.
Yes.
More than feeling, you know, like you're out of control and you can't help yourself.
Yeah, that's awesome. Kind of realistic expectations there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I know that you like to research diet trends, and you always share awesome recipes and wellness tips on your social media accounts, especially Facebook. I love following you on there. Are there any cultures that you would say exhibit a favorite health routine of yours?
So I love this question. I wrote a blog post actually a couple of months ago about the blue zones.
Yes.
And yeah, and it's like one of my most popular posts, and and I think people just like it because it really does like give you hope for like what life could be like. And one of the blue zones, so the blue zones are basically 5 countries that have the highest life expectancy with the lowest amount of chronic disease. So they're basically like the oldest yet healthiest people in the world. And one of the countries, one of the blue zones is in Greece, and it's a little island called Icaria, Greece. And when I was doing this blog, I was reading about Icaria and was like, I need to go to this place because everything like about their health routine just sounds so amazing. And what's really interesting is, so, Greece is known for their kind of higher fat intake. Icaria has about 50% of their diet comes from fat, mostly olive oil, and, olives, monounsaturated fats like that. And then they also are very like plant heavy as well, because obviously they have access to optimal growing environment. But
yes.
But what I actually love about Icaria is not so much about their food, but it's more so about like their other non-food health routines.
Oh.
So one of the things that they do is for meals. So I guess it's kind of revolved around food, but their meals, they always eat with friends and family. They never eat alone. They and it's always like kind of a big production. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They sit down. Their meals will maybe take like an hour at least. With all of their community, they have a whole spread. At lunchtime, if they'll kind of close down, come home for lunch, and do that kind of siesta type of deal. And so I really love that because I think, especially in America, we've gotten so far away of that.
Yeah.
And even like myself, I'll catch myself like eating at my desk.
Me too.
Yeah, like super detached from our food. And that really leads into, mindlessness and kind of that habit that can lead into uncontrollable like sugar cravings. So I love that about them. And then the other aspect that I really love about them is that they implement naps like during their day.
Awesome. Sign
and
me up.
yeah, like I'm on board. And so but I really think it just comes down to like, they are so good at listening to their body and they're like really connected with how they feel. And so if they feel tired, they take an hour nap. And that's not always like possible in our world, which I realize, but I think we can just take so much from like the routines that they do have, sitting down for family dinner, not having the phone at the table with you, and trying to make your dinners last like at least, even sometimes for me, it's like even hard to try and make my meal last 20 minutes.
I know.
Because we get such in a hurry. So yeah, I think I just thought it was like such a cool aspect that a lot of their health routines, and the reason why they live so long is probably a lot of it revolves around having that social connection and that like mindfulness aspect.
Yeah, I definitely think that was part of the conversation that was missing, several years ago when the Mediterranean diet was like at its like hottest, trend peak, was that it was just 100% about the food. And they left out of the conversation for the most part other important aspects of like their holistic wellness routine, because it's all integrated with each other. Like you're saying, it's like being more mindful at the dinner table. You're not only more conscious, about the choices that you're making, you're probably more sensitive to when you're going to reach that state of fullness. And then also your body's just in a better position to digest food and assimilate those nutrients. Right. Because we can't really digest when we're in that fight flight mode, when we're like answering, work emails or, checking out social media and, getting FOMO. So.
Right. Yeah, that's so true. That I don't think people make that connection that like even your digestion, huge part of like eating slowly and just when you eat with other people, you hopefully are talking to them. And so it's just as a matter of, you can't eat as quickly. You're having conversation, and then all of that, like you said, lowers that cortisol and lets you actually absorb the food adequately. So
yeah,
it's awesome.
Oh my
the
God.
Body is so cool.
That is my retirement plan then. We'll move there. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh my gosh. So, give everybody an idea of what a functional medicine dietitian's kitchen looks like. What are the top 3 things in your pantry or fridge that you cannot live without?
Okay. So let's see. The first one would actually, so this is kind of the first, and I mentioned it with my breakfast, but actually 2 of them are with my breakfast. But the first one is I have been very persistent about getting at least one form of fermented food in my diet every day. And it has really, I think, just helped with, I mentioned at the beginning that I struggled a lot with like hormonal acne and still do if I don't like take everything into consideration. And adding fermented food, like if anyone out there has hormonal acne, like this is a super easy thing that you can just try and implement. And like I said, it's not going to be like the overall answer. It might not be, but it can really just help, get those good probiotics. And you have to eat them daily because probiotics are transient. So they, you can't just eat it once a week and expect to have benefit every day. I wish, but so I've been implementing sauerkraut. I do this raw organic sauerkraut from, we have Sprouts here in Colorado,
Nice.
the health food store. And I add that with my eggs in the morning. Or the other one that's kind of tied into fermented foods is kombucha. So kombucha is a fermented tea. And I was starting to make my own, and then I just kind of got away from it. And so now I buy a quart of it from a local brewer here in kind of the Denver area. So I do go refill it up once a week, and I do like 4 ounces a day with that. So fermented food.
Just a little shot of it, just a little taste, huh?
Yeah. Just a little 4-ounce glass. And what I like about the sauerkraut and the kombucha and stuff like that, rather than yogurt, is that a lot of times the probiotic, like the number of organisms, is a lot higher in kombucha and sauerkraut. So you can do like a tablespoon of sauerkraut and still get a good amount of organisms in there, compared to like a 6-ounce think of yogurt, which I still like yogurt, but I haven't been able to find a non-dairy. I don't really tolerate yogurt with my skin, or dairy with my skin. So, so if anyone knows of a non-dairy yogurt, let me know.
Please post.
Yes.
I find it really challenging to find like non-dairy alternatives that don't have a lot of additives. And like, I know that, additives, maybe doesn't have to be like our primary focus and, what to avoid or like what to include. But, it's like you look at the ingredient labels on some of these products that are, quote unquote healthy. And it's like, that's a lot of ingredients for, coconut milk yogurt, you're like, what is this stuff? But yeah, I think I've wanted to try this. I've heard that people can use their Instant Pot for coconut milk yogurt, and that you use like full fat coconut milk, and then you just add the kefir like yogurt grains to it. I don't know. I'm going to have to do some Googling after this to verify.
Because I have heard of people making yogurt in their Instant Pot. So yeah, I don't see why
I feel like it could work. Yeah, with the coconut milk. And I know you're a huge Instant Pot fan.
Yes, I love that. We'll
have to try. You recently had a giveaway, and I was like, "Do not enter it," because I was so close.
I love it.
That is cheating.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay, what was the other thing from your pantry or fridge?
Yeah, so fermented foods, and then the second one is avocado. I think I'm like every millennial, and like, I just love my avocado.
Yes.
But I feel like avocado, this is gonna sound so cheesy, but I feel like avocado like really means like has a deeper meaning for me because I know I'm getting deep here. Because so it, when I was going through training and in college, and I think a lot of people can kind of can feel the same way, but I was so worried about calories and eating low fat, and even to the point that I would like switch my toast in the morning to like save 30 calories, and really kind of, I wouldn't say it was necessarily disordered eating, but just I didn't have a full understanding of like, yes, calories do matter with weight loss, but if you're, eating the right kind is more important. Like, and so when I started kind of learning about functional medicine, I was looking at my own diet, and I ended up switching. I would start with like a half of an avocado with an egg in the morning, and noticed that I felt like so much better in the morning. My cravings were down. I didn't feel hungry. I used to eat like every 1 or 2 hours, because I would get hungry so often.
Yeah.
And so I think it was just kind of like part of my functional medicine revolution with this avocado. And so learning that like I can eat these higher calorie foods, sourced from these healthy fats, and not necessarily feel like I'm, overeating or, having to worry about gaining weight. That's not really like, I wasn't trying to lose or gain weight either way, but, it's always kind of in the back of your mind. Like, I think especially like with women, always have that kind of like little voice in the back of your head, whether we want it there or not. And so yeah, I think like the avocado now, it's kind of like my liberation. Like, yeah, I can eat like more fat and know that it's going to make me feel so much better. And
yeah. It's almost like it was like an act of like rebellion or something.
yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, even my breakfast is 500 calories and I don't even care,
oh my God, living dangerously with avocado.
Yes. And then my last one would probably be red pepper flakes.
Oh, yeah.
And that has no backstory. It's just that I really like spicy foods, and I use way too much of it. So
it's like so simple. And I love it too. I love it on avocado and eggs together. That's like my favorite.
Yes. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I love spicy foods too. Well, this has just been such a treat for me, Maria, and I know that people watching this are going to get a lot out of this conversation too. And people are probably going to want to keep in touch with you and check you out on social media. How can they reach you? Where can they stay connected?
Yeah, so I am most active probably on Facebook, and you can find me on @Food Farmacist RD. And you'll probably put the spelling in there somewhere, because
I will. Yeah.
Yeah, it's FARM as in pharmacist, like a farm. And I'm also very active. I really interact with my weekly newsletter. So if you feel like you want to, see what's happening on my newsletter, I just send once a week and kind of notify you of my new blogs. You can join that. It's on my website, foodpharmacistrd.com, and just join the resource library, and that will get you connected.
Awesome. Well, yeah, and I am a subscriber on your newsletter, and I can attest to the value in the content that you share. And you also have like one of the most comprehensive resource libraries available to subscribers that I've ever seen, which is great. It's just so nice to have all of that high quality information available at your fingertips. I love personally your snack pairing guide. That's like a game changer. I was like, this is really good.
Yeah. Like if you want to start anywhere, especially if you struggle with sugar cravings, like that is a really good place to start, is downloading that snack pairing guide.
100% agree. Yeah. And, and you'd think that there wouldn't be like much left like for, me to learn, but it was like, oh gosh, this is just such a handy guide, especially for people like me who love to travel and just, want to stay healthy on the road. Super convenient snack ideas. And that's just one of many resources available. So totally check it out. Thank you so much, Maria. This has just been great.
Yes, thank you so much. It's been so fun.
All right, thanks.
All right.